Howdy, I'm Scott Schmitz, and today I will be talking about how to play chess. So today in this speech, I'm going to be going over a quick history of chess, how to play the basic rules, and the pieces, what they do, the point values, and why they're important. And I'm going to show you guys why openings are important, and I'll show you guys an example too. So chess was first born out of the Indian game Chaturanga in 600 AD. It was made as a fun game to practice critical thinking and strategy with another person, but it wasn't until the 16th century that it actually made it to Europe. So a lot of changes occurred as it was traveling to Europe. And this is from The History of Chess by Duncan Forbes. Chess is played by two opponents on a checkered board, each player having a set of colored pieces. Each player takes turns moving their pieces and capturing the opponent's pieces, and the objective of the game is to capture the opponent's king. The stages of the game is the opening, middle, and end game. The pieces are pawn, rook, knight, bishop, queen, and king right there. Basics of piece movement: you can only move one piece a turn. You get a piece if you move one of your pieces into an occupied square of an opponent's piece. So if you move your piece onto a square where an opponent has their piece, your piece stays on that square and you take their piece out of the game. And you cannot fly over an opponent's piece and try and move past it. And this is from Chess Piece Names, Moves, and Values from chess.com. So the pawn is what I think is one of the most strategically important pieces because you have so many of them. You have 8 pieces. It can move 1 forward in any of the games. So if you have it right here, it can move 1 forward. Or if it's the first time it's moved, it can move 2 forward. And it can attack in front of it diagonally. So it would move to this diagonal space and take the pieces that were either here or here. The rook can cover the entire chessboard, both vertically and horizontally, but it can't move diagonally, and you get 2 of pieces this game. So it's very important and strategical in the late game. The knight can move in an L-type shape. So it can move either 2 spaces horizontally, then 1 vertically, or 2 spaces vertically, then 1 space horizontally. And this is the only piece in chess that can actually, quote unquote, jump over another piece without getting stopped. So if there was a piece right here above the horse, it could actually go through it and then to the side to this space right here without getting stopped or without having the horse having to take it. You get 2 of these pieces a game, so they're very good. The bishop is the opposite of the rook because it can move diagonally, but not horizontally and vertically. This is very good for catching your opponent off guard whenever they're not thinking about all of the possible routes that your pieces can take, because bishops are very sneaky. You get 2 of these pieces of the game in game. The queen is a bishop and a rook combined because it can move horizontally and vertically and diagonally. So it covers a lot of the board. The king is pretty useless whenever it comes to taking pieces because it can only move 1 direction in any way. If your king is in danger of getting taken by another piece, you have to either put one of your pieces in front of it to protect it or move the king out of the way of danger. You only get 1 of these pieces, and if it dies, then the game is over. So openings are very important in chess because they determine the entire outcome of the game just off of the opening, because you could blunder so many of your pieces by doing the wrong opening. So these strategies usually have a plan involved in them. And once the openings of both players are complete, the game reaches the middle game, where generally the most pieces are taken and exchanged. And this is from Chess Openings and Book Moves from chess.com. So I'm going to show you guys an example. It's the Roy Lopez defense. So it's a widely used opening from casual to competitive play. There's many different variations where sometimes this pawn can move up, or sometimes this queen can move in to threaten other spaces right here and right here. The image of the Roy Lopez is right here with white, and this is from the Chess Pathways Roy Lopez document. The pros and cons of the Roy Lopez defense is it's very complex to play, so it could confuse your opponent, but you have to be really good at it to understand it. It gives white long-term pressure throughout the game, so it's really hard for black to engage and be aggressive and defend throughout the game if you get this correctly. White develops the board rapidly and castles quickly, which is swapping your king and rook to make your king a little bit more safe. And you can do that in one turn. Castling is a very weird strategy. There's good lines for both players. So again, you have to be better than your opponent to play the Roy Lopez and know the strategy better. Some bad things about it, it's very hard to transition from the opening to the middle because a lot of your powerful pieces like your rooks, your bishops, your queens are still behind a lot of those pawns that you haven't moved forward because you've only moved some of the pieces like the one bishop and the one pawn forward. And black has a lot of defenses that they can choose from to counteract it. If you are wanting to play chess or learn, chess sets are decently cheap, and you can always get a friend to play with, or you can go on chess.com and play against people with your skill level. Thank you for listening, and thank you.